Hi everyone, this is a short video on how to write a compare and contrast essay. So we're going to get started by discussing what a compare and contrast essay is. So a compare and contrast essay is something that describes similarities and differences between two or more things. Okay, so let's start by discussing what a similarity is. So when two things are similar, it means that they have features that are alike. When two or more things are different, it means they have features that are not alike. So let's remember that. If they're similar, then they're going to be alike. And if they're different, then they're going to be not alike. Okay, so now that we know what similar and different means, we're just going to discuss really fast what compare and contrast means. When you compare two things, you show the ways in which they are similar, and when you contrast two things, you show the ways in which they are different. So similar and compare go together, and different and contrast go together. Okay, so now I would just like to discuss 3 different kinds of compare and contrast essays. There's definitely more than 3, but these are the 3 that I just want to focus on really fast. So you could do a personal compare and contrast essay. So that would be something personal to yourself, and so you'd be able to use I because it would be a personal experience. So you can compare you and a family member, or maybe 2 friends that you have, or you and your own friend. So that's personal experience, so you can use I, first person. You could compare and contrast 2 historical events or something that happened in history. You could compare and contrast 2 of our old presidents or 2 wars from America. So that's very factual, so you wouldn't be able to use I with that. Then you could also compare and contrast basically anything, so movies, books, games, maybe the way in which your friends like to play a game compared to the way in which someone else likes to play a game. So you can definitely do that. So now that you know the types, we move on to our brainstorming. So first, I'm just going to say that I want to do a personal one. So I'd think of some ideas. So I'd be like, okay, how about comparing and contrasting my mom and dad, or my grandma and my grandpa, or my friend and I, or maybe my sister and my cousin. Okay, so that's how we'd start. We'd start by saying, okay, who are 2 people or 2 experiences that I had that I could compare and contrast? So I'm going to choose my friend and I. So then we use something called a Venn diagram. And this is how we start organizing, because this is a graphic organizer, so we use it to organize our ideas. So we could open this up, and you could obviously do this on paper, but I have it on Google Docs, so I'm going to do it on Google Docs. And so I would start by thinking of some ways that that we are similar and how we're different. So the way that this works is that the ways in which we are different go into these 2 boxes, so this box and this box. So this will be the ways that she's different than I am, and these would be the ways that I'm different than she is. So I'd start by jotting things down. So like, for example, I have curly hair, and my best friend Desiree, she has straight hair. That's one way in which we're different. So then we continue to go down the line, and then we'd start thinking of ways in which we're similar. So for example, Desiree and I are both Catholic. So I'd write that down. And so that's one way that we're similar. So that's how you use this. So it's called a Venn diagram. You got your similarities in the middle and your differences on the outsides. So I actually did finish it up here. So this is me, Teresa, and this is Desiree. And so the ways in which we are different is that I have curly hair, she has straight hair. I'm tall, she's short. I'm an education major, she's a business major. I have 3 siblings, and she has 4 siblings. And then the ways in which we are similar is that we're both Catholic, we both love pizza, we both are from New Jersey, and we both love the color purple. So once you have your Gothic organizer, you can start writing your essay. But before you do that, you need to think of some of the vocabulary that you'd be using. So when you're going to compare things, you can use words such as both, the same, also, like, similar, similarly, alike, each, likewise, and just as. So that would be for when you're describing things that are similar. And then contrast would be different, but, although, different from, however, one difference, on the other hand, in comparison, in contrast to, even though, unlike, yet, despite, and differ. So that's some of the vocabulary that you'd be using for your essay. So then, once you know the vocabulary and you know how you're going to organize your essay and you know what you're going to talk about, you need to think about the way in which you will organize your essay. So the first way you could do it is you can first talk about the similarities and then talk about the differences, or vice versa. So first I could describe all the ways that Desiree and I are similar, then I would discuss all the ways that Desiree and I are different, or vice versa. Or the second way, you can talk about both the similarities and the differences at the same time. So for example, I'd be like, we are similar because we both love pizza, but we are different because I have curly hair and she has straight hair. Or you can alternate between talking about the similarities and differences. So that would be, for example, I'd start with some similarities, then I'd go to some differences. Then I'd add another similarity, then another difference. So then I already wrote my essay, so I'm going to read it, and then we can discuss some of the vocabulary I used, how I organized it, and anything else that I think we should touch on. So you always must remember when you're writing an essay that you're going to need a title. So this is my title, My Best Friend and I, and note that I capitalized the first letter of every word except for and, because we don't capitalize and. And then also remember when you're writing an essay, you have to tab the first line. So it's only 1 paragraph because this is just a short essay, so I didn't make it more than 1. But sometimes you can organize one where you have your introduction, and then 1 paragraph could be your similarities, 1 paragraph could be your differences, and then you have conclusion. There's a bunch of different ways that you could do it. So now I'll read it. I have a very best friend. Her name is Desiree. We have been friends for a long time, so we know that we have similarities and differences. Our first similarity is that we are both Catholic and grew up going to the same church. Our second is that we both live in New Jersey and have lived there our entire lives. We also both like pizza, and we have the same favorite color, which is purple. Now that I have talked about our similarities, I need to mention our differences. The first way in which we differ is that I have curly hair and Desiree has straight hair. Another contrast we have is that Desiree, unlike me, is short while I am tall. The next difference is what we are studying. I want to be a teacher, so I am an education major. Desiree, on the other hand, is a business major. Our last difference has to do with our families. I have 3 siblings, yet Desiree has 4. These are the ways that Desiree and I are similar and different. Regardless of these contrasts and comparisons, we are still best friends. So that's my essay. I forgot to capitalize Desiree's name there. So now that we are going to look at it and we're going to see the vocabulary that we use. So for similarities, we're going to underline those words. So the first word that I used here, we have similarity. So that is 1. Both. That's another word. Same. That's another similarity word. We both live in New Jersey. Both. Both like pizza. Have the same favorite color. So then some different words, which we differ. Differ is a vocabulary word. I'm going to bold those words. Another contrast. That's a different word. Unlike. That's a word that shows difference. While. That shows difference. Okay, we know that difference is a different word. On the other hand. yet. And those are all our vocabulary. So you can see that in order to write this essay, I had to use this vocabulary to show similarities and differences. Now, I didn't use all of them, but these are just some words that you could use, and these are how I use them in my essay. Writing a compare and contrast essay would line up with your 6th grade learning standards for literacy. And now that you know how to write a compare and contrast essay, you can reach your goals of learning. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!